So we talk about things like saving the planet, but if the state of mind of the human race does not change, no change in the outer environment can be sustained. So what would life be like if our minds were clean? What kind of world would we expect? You see, because we actually don't have to fix any problem in the world. We don't have to go out and change things. Even if you provide all of the necessary resources for people struggling with survival, clean water, more food, taking care of people's needs, that does nothing to stop or prevent the greed of the minds of the people who influence the earth the most. So it doesn't matter how much you try on the surface to fix things. Everything will constantly return to the reflection of the quality of the human mind. If you don't mind, I'd like to ask you a question. Is the inner atmosphere of your mind habitable for life? Or is it toxic and full of garbage? I don't think people realize that, for instance, on the earth, the state of the earth is nothing but a reflection of the quality of the minds of the human species. You see, the more clogged up and dirty our minds are, the more we clog up and dirty the earth. The more we destroy our environment. There is no separation between our inner environment and the outer environment. Now we have to look at life not as a collection of individuals, but as one collective consciousness. All the good, all the bad, and all the in-between, they are all added up to this one human consciousness, this one human mind, and that is what is reflected on the earth. If, as a collective, there are so many people who are sick-minded, then sickness will prevail. That is what we will experience. If more human minds are selfish and greedy and evil, then that is the world that we will experience. And through the sharing of this kind of knowledge, this kind of wisdom, this kind of information, we can create a more loving and harmonious world. Because we go from living in this ego-identified state where we are living selfishly, where we live for power and control, and we could enter into heart-based consciousness. And you see, no matter how terrible things seem sometimes, when you look at the news or on social media, the fact is that there is a global awakening. There is a change of the collective consciousness, and this change is exponential, which means that the world can change in an instant. When we seek the truth, and as information like this becomes more popular, as you can see through YouTube and social media, more people are talking about the same things that I speak about more than ever. And that is the indication that things are changing. Once the collective consciousness reaches a certain threshold, the world that we experience will be completely different than it is now. The world by default is in harmony, but human beings are the only creatures on the planet that can become out of harmony because of our minds. And so as individuals start returning to this place of harmony within, we will begin experiencing harmony in the world. And it has nothing to do with changing the world, but we change ourselves, and every vote counts. So no matter how small or no matter how insignificant you think your contribution is, it matters and it makes a difference because you know a bunch of different people. And through your presence, you will affect their consciousness, their minds. And if you are suffering and miserable all the time, you will spread suffering and misery. And if you are in harmony, you will spread harmony. Like a fire. Either way, positivity or negativity, you will spread it. Of course, there are people in the chain who will take that negativity and transmute it into positivity. But those individuals can be rare. And if you enter into a state of harmony yourself, you harmonize the negative energies around you. And think about the chain reaction. Let's say you know 10 people and you enter into a state of harmony, and you begin influencing those 10 people. And those 10 people also know 10 people. So even though you know 10 people, you have just influenced 100 people. And each one of those people knows more people. And 10 people is an underestimate. So you alone, as one individual, can have an impact over thousands and thousands of lives. Even if you're not making social media content or famous or whatever, you alone living your normal life have influence over thousands of people, because we are all interconnected. So there is no more important mission in life than to enter into a state of harmony. Because if you have any sense of purpose or meaning in life, you will strive for the betterment of humanity, of the world, rather than for its destruction. And so every day we're casting our vote in these micro actions, in these thoughts, and we are either contributing to the destruction of all things or to the creation of a new and better world. Now, no pressure, okay? But you don't have to be perfect. It's not about being perfect. All that matters is that initial desire to strive to make things better, to improve your life, but more specifically and more importantly, to enter into a state of harmony, to have a deeper connection with the divine, to take your mind and point it away from the world and point it inward toward the eternal, toward the infinite, toward God. And in doing so, you become more in harmony with God, more aligned with the eternal, with the infinite, with the source of harmony itself. And the more you are aligned with harmony, the more you become a vessel for this power. And so this power works through you and harmonizes the environment, harmonizes the world. You see, this body, this mind, these are vessels for these higher powers. And depending on what you allow in, what you allow yourself to be possessed by, these powers will work through you and create influences in the world. So if you allow in negative thoughts, negative habits and addictions, negative attitudes and beliefs, then you will be a force of darkness and suffering. And don't beat yourself up if you are currently in a negative state or a bad place, because it's not about being perfect, being right or wrong. It doesn't matter how much you think you are a sinner, or how much you might think you are a bad person, or all of the mistakes that you've done in your life. What matters is that you return. You return home. You return toward the light. In fact, those who are led astray are often of the highest value. Those who suffer the most can be the greatest source of harmony, because once you've been to these low places and have escaped and have risen back to higher states of being, you know how to solve that problem in others, and you can be a beacon of light for those who have lost their way. Think about how much one person can change the world and change generations upon generations. It's not that difficult to create a more loving and harmonious world, because change can happen in an instant. But it all starts with you. No matter how insignificant you think your life is, no matter how insignificant you think you play a role in the wholeness of all things, every single one of the parts is equally important to the wholeness of everything. And it is the highest joy to play your part, to fulfill your duty to the collective consciousness, to find freedom, to be at peace, to be in harmony. Don't downplay your importance to this world. You play a bigger role than you think. I thank you for being a part of this journey with me. If you'd like to work closer with me, there's a link for one-on-one spiritual guidance below. Much peace and many blessings.